Good question. I mean, again, because it wasn't education or purely education. Always just been a fan of computers. Always just enjoyed the technology and kind of stuck with it even without a lot of formal training. Tried out the traditional law path for a while and found that it mostly wasn't for me. I still practice occasionally nowadays, but it was more just kind of having. It was really actually having the law knowledge that I started teaching here, and then along the way, let people know that yeah, I do technology too. So, kind of a good fit for both of those. Communication skills are pretty much always number one, both both verbal and written, and creativity and willingness to learn. Really, the willingness, the knowledge, the ability to go out and to figure out what you don't know, right? To fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
And similar to what I said before, keep up with the trends, but that includes not just knowing when to use trendy things or to follow trendy things, but also when to not follow them, right? When to hold back and maybe rely on older technology, or maybe rely not on technology at all. It's a balance. It's definitely not just always being trendy. There are basics, and again, that is human communication, right? It is. At the end of the day, all of this stuff is made up of people, right? It's not made up of computers. It's made of people using computers, people using cell phones, people using technology. So, keeping that in the back of your mind, I think, is probably the most important thing you can do. Again, it's not there's not really a prescribed path. It's really being curious. It's really being trying to be knowledgeable about just about everything, right? This industry is so up in the air. It's brand new, historically speaking, it's brand new. It's very unsettled. I sort of laugh when I hear the phrase best practices, right? Because how could you possibly know, right? So again, it is flexibility, it is creativity. So even when you say something like looking for a job or thinking about a job, my immediate answer is go take some courses that have nothing to do with this, or go have some interests that have nothing to do with this. That I think will help give you some perspective. I think personally, I would avoid anywhere too large for different reasons. I personally would avoid an Apple or a Facebook or a Google. No, actually maybe not Google. Google might be all right. But I would avoid an Apple and a Facebook because I imagine they have the appearance of being very, kind of not light or easy, but free and the sort of ability to do whatever you want. And I imagine it's the exact opposite there. Similarly, places like, I don't know if I'd go for a large, established brick and mortar company either. They are frequently in the business of talking a lot about innovation, but maybe not always doing it. So I would probably tend smaller operation, even if it was a pure IT operation, or maybe just even a smaller company that doesn't know anything about IT. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas and paths to explore. I think that would sort of be ideal. Kind of not really having a lot of certainty. I think actually would be a lot of fun, just because you could kind of carve your own path. Partly the mechanics of it, partly just enjoying hacking on computers, right? That's something I've always enjoyed, but over time that's definitely evolved for me, and I think sort of the biggest change that I realized was sort of, again, if you came up using computers when I came up using computers, they weren't all connected to one another. In fact, they weren't connected to anything, and so they were these individual little boxes that you would play on, and that's fun, and I love doing that. What so many people didn't get, and frankly still don't get now, is that when you connect them together, they're no longer the way we have now. They're no longer little individual toy boxes. They are machines for connecting people together, and that's what people end up using them for. right? So there isn't, you know, cyberspace and whatever. Similar to this idea that, you know, cyberspace kind of doesn't exist, right? Early on we thought, oh yeah, we'd go into the internet and then we would live there, and then there's the internet and there's real life, and that increasingly that separation is non-existent. And so now I would say it's really understanding, which I guess is what the program is all about. It's really understanding that, you know, what happens when you mix, you know, new ways of communicating, new ways of expressing yourself to others with, you know, with everybody on the planet. You know, when everyone starts to use it, what happens? And you know, figuring out those questions, because it brings a great deal of opportunity, and also brings a great deal of possible problems. And you know, working on fixing that is, you know, or getting that pointed in a good direction is kind of the dream, I guess. Not cell phones, not tablets, not easy to use interfaces, none of those things. The opposite thing. And right now, I think sort of, I guess this is the reverse of the question. I think the biggest sort of, what I would frankly, a strong word is waste right now, is emphasis on easy to use things, is emphasis on making, you know, oh, an interface that's simple to anyone can use. That, you know, it's a good idea for some people, but I think right now it leads to, you know, it leads to simple thinking in a way. That is, yeah, you know, it's nice if you know, grandma can use a computer, or a 3-year-old can use a computer, or whoever, but you know, you know, sometimes good work takes complex thought and complex problem solving, and really dealing with getting people to work with computers on learning how to do that is I think super important. There's a sort of idea that, you know, everyone should learn to code, right? And I think there's some truth to that. It's not absolutely true, but what I think that really means is that not only should individuals learn more about coding and the process of programming and how that works, programming itself should, if we could, should shift more towards being a little more user-friendly. But again, this not just using that machine, but teaching people how to teach their own machines, teaching people how to you know, do that little bit of programming that best suits them. You know, you know, it would be nice if the, you know, whether it's the chemist or the, you know, somebody who's doing something that isn't traditionally programming, knew that little bit of code to really, you know, work things, you know, you make things work together instead of these sort of silos of programming that get cut off with one another. You know, there's no reason, you know, there's no reason that a program can't be written in 2 languages at the same time. Why not? You know, just time together. But that idea hasn't really taken off yet, and I'd like to see that take off. So I think there's opportunity there. You know, these machines can work however you want them, technically, right? You can make them do whatever you want. But there's a lot of pressure to not do that. There's a lot of pressure in that other direction. So I'd like to see that, and I think it will. I think it's sort of inevitable, but you know, the quicker we can get that, the better.
Yeah.